Welcome to Loise's Kitchen, where we make amazing mouth-watering dishes. Now, for my returning subscribers, thank you for joining. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate your support, for liking, for writing your comments, for letting me know exactly how you feel about the recipes. I don't take that for granted. For my new watchers, thank you also for joining us. This is a channel where you'll find amazing mouth-watering dishes, and I believe you're going to be clicking the subscribe button before this episode ends. Now, for today, we'll be making creamy mashed potatoes. For that, we'll go straight to the ingredients of our day. Now, for our first ingredient, we have potatoes, which have peeled and put in cold water. Then for our second ingredient, we have some milk. We'll need to warm this later because we cannot use it cold. Then we have some margarine. You can use margarine or butter. Then we have some turmeric. Turmeric for this particular recipe is optional, so just know that this is optional. Then we have some coriander. This is mainly for the garnish part. And then we have some salt, which we are going to put to taste as usual. And finally, we have some rosemary. Again, the rosemary in this recipe is optional. So we'll go straight to preparing our potatoes so that we can start cooking them. Guys, these are the sizes that I've cut my potatoes. You can cube them or you can cut them into any shape as long as it's the same shape so that they can cook evenly and at the same time. So you can even measure with your finger if you need to. Just make them as much as you can to be the same size, and then immediately you cut, you just put in some water, and then when you finish, you wash them and remove as much of this water, and just make sure that the water is clear. Our potatoes are well cleaned, so I'm going to put them in the pan that I'm going to be cooking in. Usually I prefer using cold water rather than putting hot water, so that as they cook, the temperature rises at the same time and they tend to cook more evenly. Another tip that I would like to tell you guys is, when you're choosing your potatoes, look for the potatoes that are more starchy than the waxy ones, because they tend to become more creamier. Now at this point, I'm going to put some salt. Remember that whatever you cook, it's all about adding flavor. So we're going to put some salt to it. And then for this particular meal, I'm going to be using some turmeric. Not a lot, just some little turmeric. I just want it a little bit yellow. You can either choose to use it or not, it's optional. So I'll give this potato some time until it gets to the boiling point, and then I'll check when the potatoes are fork tender, then you guys will join. So see you guys in a short while. Now, I've already poured out the water. It's been about 15 or 18 minutes, and you can check if your potatoes are ready by checking if they're fork tender, and if the fork goes through, then they are ready. Now, I've just returned the pan to the fire because I want any residue water to I want the potatoes to get completely dry for about 1 or so minutes before I start mashing them up. So I've put the heat on high, and this will take about a minute or so. As you can see, there is totally no moisture, so this is ready for mashing. And I'm going to turn off the fire and move the pan closer to me. You really need to be comfortable when you're doing this. You can use a ricer to mash your potatoes. You can use a cooking spoon like this one. You can use a ginger, is it called a maton? I think so. Don't use a hand mixer because it makes the potatoes gummy, and you don't want to eat gummy potatoes. Now I do have masher, but I have a very interesting masher here that I'm going to be using. I'm using my ever faithful soda bottle, Coca-Cola. Thank you so much, because it's able to grasp my potatoes and anything that I need right at the bottom, and it's quite handy. And I know I'm going to get a lot of messages about this. It's very comfortable for me to use it because it grips everything at the bottom the way I like it, and you're going to see the results. We finished mashing our potatoes, and I've melted my margarine. Then on this other pan, I have my milk boiling. Remember, I had another ingredient that I told you guys is optional. This is a stalk of rosemary. So I want this infused in the milk so that the aroma will be in the potatoes, the mashed potatoes. But remember, this is optional, and I'll just turn off the gas at this point and then proceed with the next step, which is putting the butter into the potatoes. Remember, you need to start with the butter, not the milk, because when you put the milk, the mashed potatoes tend to be soggy. So you need to first make sure that you mix in your butter in your mashed potatoes, or your margarine if you're using margarine. So I'm just making sure that the butter gets to every point of the potatoes. And then at this point, I'll use a sieve to sieve out the rosemary, and I'll put little by little. It's about that time where we get to taste our final product. We just finished making our creamed mashed potatoes, and here they are. I've just garnished with some chopped coriander. This is smelling good. Remember guys, I'd put some rosemary in the milk. You can choose to use that or not. You can also choose to flavor with what you have. If you don't have the fresh ones and you want to use rosemary like I did, you can use the dried ones. Just make sure that you give it time to boil with the milk, or you can boil it with the potatoes. The only issue is when you boil with the potatoes, you need to make sure that you're able to pick out from the potatoes that it doesn't spoil the creaminess or the color of your potatoes. So I guess it wouldn't be right for me not to taste with you guys, but I believe that you're going to be making this. It's creamy, it's flavorful. I can taste the rosemary, especially the rosemary, and it's amazing how one little change of something can change the dynamics of flavor in food. It's really amazing. I'm going to be taking this with some vegetables and proteins, and I'm going to be sharing with you in the next video, so please stay tuned. It's been amazing having you guys here. If you like this kind of content and you haven't clicked the subscribe button, please do so right here. Also remember to like, share and comment, and also go to the files. You're going to find interesting, amazing, mouth-watering recipes that you're going to enjoy yourselves. Do have an amazing time. Bye bye.